Hello there, welcome back to my channel. It is that wonderful time of the year when Sephora has their spring sale. If you're not aware, they offer 10 to 20% off depending on your status in the rewards program. And that sale is currently on right now. And as of today, the day of filming, it is the 18th, and this is the day when everybody is open to shop. If you've shopped these sales before, you're familiar that depending on your tier, depends on when you get to shop. I appreciate that this year they only broke it up into two groups. So those of you who are beauty insiders, you don't have to wait until the last final 3 days or whatever to shop. So this sale is currently going and goes through April 24th, and you can shop as many times as you want using the discount code SAVENOW. I will leave all of the sale information about your discounts, the code, everything in the description box below, along with the items that I'm sharing with you today. Now, I debated this year of whether or not I was going to do a separate recommendations video and a haul unboxing. And just because of the timing and everything else going on in my world, it just didn't work out for me to do recommendations. And I also felt like everybody else was doing recommendations videos, and I didn't want your YouTube feed just to be flooded with recommendations videos because it gets overwhelming. So I love doing the haul unboxing videos. So I'm going to open up this box, which was just delivered about an hour ago. I haven't even looked myself. And then there's a couple of other items that I picked up over the weekend. So we're going to see what I bought. I'm going to swatch everything. I'm going to try on some lipsticks for you. So we're just going to have some fun talking about some makeup and looking at some new things. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. All right, now as I go through this box, I'm going to do it rather gingerly because I did just freshly paint my nails. I wasn't sure if my box was actually going to arrive today, so I didn't plan ahead, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna be showing things with my hands. I gotta paint my nails. And this is a new polish. It was sent to me from Huda Beauty, and it's so pretty as the light hits it. It's a duochrome, so it has like blue and green, but it's called Peridot. I thought, okay, I think this is perfect. So let's dig in gingerly to this box and see what I actually bought. Oh my goodness. Now, first of all, I'm gonna show you what I actually picked up separate because I've already seen these things. So, you know, I'm gonna save my most exciting things for later. The first thing that I picked up was one of the Sephora collection eyeliners. This is the 12-hour colorful crayon. And I actually have this in two other shades. I have this pink shade, and then I also have this really nice kind of cool bronze color. And Sephora collection, all of Sephora collection is 30% off regardless of what your reward tier is. So I always like to pick up something from the Sephora collection, and I just thought that this color was very unique. I don't have anything like it. I have like olive green and I have a forest green, but I thought this was so pretty. It does have some shimmer and glow in it, but this is something I would love to put on my lower lash line. In fact, we can just, we can just put a little bit of it in there. They're very soft, they're pigmented, and I find them to be very long wearing, but I pretty much have just used them under my lower lash line, but I even like just that little haze of green that just added. And the color, by the way, is Fresh Mint, I think appropriately named. Now, the other thing I picked up over the weekend when I was in Kohl's and they had a Sephora there, which by the way, this sale applies to those as well, is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Matte Velvet Powder Foundation. I've heard so many people rave about this. I never tried the original, but I've heard this one's even better. So since I was in the store and I had freshly applied my Sunless Tanner when I was there, I was able to, I think, closely match a good color for me. So this is a very velvety finish powder. It feels really nice and smooth. And then it comes with a powder puff, and apparently you can use this wet or dry. I don't know. I've not really tried it. I used it on top of some foundation yesterday, but that wasn't really a good test. So I will be testing that out. I feel like powder foundations have really made a comeback. So I'm testing a few and I'll be sharing my thoughts. All right, let's get into the box. I'm just gonna go from the top down, so who knows what we're gonna pull out. Oh, okay. This is the Urban Decay 24 Inks. Urban Decay just came out with liquid liners, or they redid their liquid liners. I feel like they had them before, but I never tried them. Ooh, this is really cool. Look at that. Looks like a paintbrush. That's really fun. And it has a really nice kind of shape to it, so you can really hold onto it well. And the color I got was Whiskey. So this is one of the colors that they have in their regular pencil line that I do love. It's hard, I think, to find a good dark brown liquid liner. So I was curious how dark brown this would be. Okay, it's, you know, a new pen. It does have the shaker ball, which I appreciate. Okay, so this is definitely lighter than the KVD Mad Max Brown, which you know is my favorite, but I am so happy to see that really nice, thin, flexible. It is a brush tip, so I love that. It's not the marker tip, so I feel like these are easier to maneuver. And this says, doesn't mess around, smudge transfer, water resistant. So it doesn't say waterproof, but water resistant. So you can bet I'm gonna be testing that claim out. Okay, next, another Sephora collection item that I purchased that I have heard so many people rave about is one of their colorful blushes. Now, apparently they did just change the packaging and I think the formula. So there were a couple of shades that people have recommended before that were no longer available, but this shade is Flirt It Up. I love the slim, sleek packaging, and ooh, that is so pretty. I have a feeling my blush drawer is going to be overwrought with pink blushes this year. You know, we're all after that in from the cold, fresh look, or now that we're moving into spring and summer, what's it gonna be? Just a nice warm flush. So that is what that looks like. And I feel like this is one of the matte ones. Some of the blushes have shimmer, but I wanted to kind of find one that wasn't overly shimmery. And I feel like that's nice. It builds up. So you don't have to worry about it being so pigmented when you put your finger in. So I think that is a really pretty color. All right. Since we are on the blush, let's just keep going. The Haus Labs blushes. I purchased 2 of them. Okay, I had to dig to the bottom of the box to get the other one out. Like I said, pink blushes. Okay, the first thing that is striking me is how beautiful this compact is. Oh my goodness. And it is very weighty. So, you know, compared to this slim little package that's plastic from Sephora, you can tell a difference already in packaging. All right, this is the brightest, oh my goodness. I mean, it's like neon, even in person, but it's definitely looking pretty neon on camera. But I have heard such amazing things about these blushes. Wow, the texture is buttery smooth, and you can see that one definitely in one swipe we have full colors. So you're definitely getting more pigment with this. And that's where I think a lot of times people talk about dupes with just color to color similarities, but it's important if you're paying more money to know if there is a difference in the quality or in the formulation, and I can tell a difference between the two. Now this one has a couple of special ingredients. It says it is powered with fermented arnica, hydroberry, and it is talc free. So it is a special formulation, but the color, oh my goodness. Now this is the Color Fuse blush, and this is Dragon Fruit Daize. And then the other color I got is Pomelo Peach. That's the other thing that as I was actually going through my blush drawer, I thought, you know, I don't have a ton of peach blushes, so let's just see what this looks like. Oh, now that's beautiful. This would have been perfect for my recent makeup video with the peach tones, right? Okay, let's see what this color translates to. I feel like this one, I mean, definitely it's softer in color, but you can build it up to get more pigmentation. So I think on my tan skin, well, let's just try it on, right? That's the whole purpose of this video, right? Let's just add a little bit to my cheeks. I'm gonna end up with, ooh, look at that, okay. So just in one application, I feel like, I mean, I just tapped my brush. So definitely you can get a lot more color than you think from these blushes. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, I think I'm already a fan. So definitely something I would recommend checking out if you are in the market for a new blush. I think there's only like 6 or 7 shades, so there aren't a ton of shades, but those 2 are so pretty. Okay, something else I dug out of the bottom of the box because I thought while we're talking about cheeks, let's just go right to this product. So this is the Sephora Collection Micro Smooth Multitasking Baked Face Palette. This comes in 2 different tones, and this is the lighter of the 2. Does it have a specific shade color? Enchant. Now this is a product that I heard somebody talk about, I feel like last November, and it had been out of stock forever, and it just came back in stock. Look at that. So it's a quad of, you have a nice kind of light bronzer color highlight and 2 blush shades. This one has some glow and this one appears to be more matte. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay. Whoa. So these are really, really pigmented. So more pigmented than this formulation. You can tell a difference. It's super smooth, buttery. Let me swatch these real quick for you. Okay, so there are the shades. So obviously the bronzer color is pretty light, but I felt like the darker version of this palette, the highlighter would be too dark for me. So I'm okay if the bronzer color is more light. So it's definitely a bronzer for me, not a contour. And then this is the glowy, kind of pink glowy blush. I think that's gonna be beautiful over the top of that. And then look at that highlighter. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try that on. Let's just see. I'll just use that as my mirror. I think you can see that. Wow, that's so pretty. Okay, let's try over here. Even things out. Wow. Okay, I'm going to be very glowy at the end of this video. I have to go to the gym to work out. People are gonna be wondering what on earth I've been doing, playing in the makeup. So definitely something that I think the textures and everything are super nice and smooth. So if you're interested in something like this, kind of an all-in-one, I would check these out. The final face color product that I ordered was another one of the Gucci bronzers. So last year I was introduced to this one, and this is shade number 3. And you all know I was not planning to love this, and I absolutely love it. I still love it. And as we go into summer, this is something that I find myself putting on every day, just over the top of whatever cheek color I'm wearing. So this year I wanted to try another color because I love the formulation so much. I wanted to try shade number 2. So these come in this beautiful, beautiful soft velvet bag, and the packaging is just exquisite. So let's see what color. Oh, okay. So this is what I would say is kind of my perfect contour shade as compared to shade number 3. Let me show you. It's so funny. Shade 3, shade 2. You would not think that's the direction they would go, because then after 3, it gets darker and darker. So this is definitely, though, cooler toned than number 3. So let's just give this a try. So this is what I'm thinking will make a really nice contour. And again, because I already know how smooth the formulation is, and like it's effortless to blend. I just feel like this is one of those foolproof products. It's so nice on the skin. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to tame down all this color here. Oh, I love that. So this is definitely an expensive product, but like I said, I have used the previous one I got about a year ago. I've used it nearly every day, all through the summer, through the fall, and often through the winter. And yes, I've made a dent, but there is still a lot of product. Underneath, this pops up and there is kind of a little brush there. I never use that, but it does have a strong scent. And I'm pretty scent sensitive, but this does not, I don't feel like it lingers once you apply it to your skin. And over the course of the year, that smell has greatly diminished. It's still there, but it does over time diminish a little bit. Gucci has reeled me in again. All right, this next product, for years, I have wanted to try this foundation, and I just have never been able to take the plunge. But then when Sephora started offering it in a smaller size, it's still expensive, but it's a smaller size, I thought, okay, maybe the next time the sale rolls around, I'll give it a try. This is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Perfect Glow Flawless Foundation. I picked up the shade 5.8. This is just a guess based on kind of what I saw online. And then I've picked up a sample or two from Sephora, but it was never the exact shade that I needed for summer. So we're we're gonna see. I don't know. This could be one of those that I have to exchange, but let's see. So it does have a pump. I was actually not expecting that on this smaller version. Let me just see if I can, oh, this is like gold, you know? I feel like it for the price. Now, my sunless tanner on my hands has worn off, so this won't match my hand, but oh, okay. If you can see that going on, wow. So the texture is really truly unlike anything I felt before. So thin, and yet it feels like it has set down and my skin feels like silk. It doesn't feel tacky, but it's not a matte finish either. I can see why this is one of those foundations that makeup artists just rave about. And even though, you know, this section of my hand is a different color, you can see how it blends in, and you cannot see a line of makeup. It's just the color change. Wow. That is so nice. Okay. I'm really excited about that. So this smaller size is 0.6 fluid ounces. And I feel like when I priced it out, it was not that much more expensive per ounce than if you get the full size. So if you've wanted to try this foundation, maybe check out and see if they have your color in the mini. This next face product I am really excited about because it is a new sunscreen from Kosas. This is Dream Beam Comfy Smooth Sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 40, and it is a fully mineral sunscreen. It's zinc oxide 21.7%. So that is really excellent. I'm surprised there's no shaker ball. Okay, interesting. Online, it looks like it's almost like a water. So I love the packaging, super sleek. And the way that it's packaged, let me look in the lid. I think this will travel well. Sometimes these types of sunscreens don't travel well, but let's just see. It has like a dropper. Oh, I was expecting it to be very watery, but it is not. It is, ooh, it's almost like a gel. Like what kind of gel? Ooh. And even though it has a tiny little bit of a tint, it really doesn't, I mean, it adds a hint of tint to the skin, but it's not so much that if you're fair, you couldn't wear this. I think the tint just maybe helps with the white cast, reducing the white cast, but wow, that makes the skin look so beautiful. And all it says on the box that it's clean, comfy, 100% mineral sunscreen that moisturizes, smooths, and creates the dreamiest makeup base. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I find that many sunscreens for my face do not pair well with makeup. So I have very few that I find that actually work. So I am really excited to try this out. And then the other thing that I got, again, I've heard so many people talk about this, and this brand is the Say, I think that's how you say it, Slip Tint Broad Spectrum SPF 35. Now the shade I got is 3+1/2, so I guess 3.5. So that again was just a guess. All right, now why I picked up this is because I think it's kind of hard to find something that has just a nice sheer coverage that, you know, has some decent coverage, but that has a high enough SPF, has the skincare ingredients to where I feel like I can cut out a few steps of my skincare routine on those days when I don't feel like putting on all my serums, my moisturizer, my sunscreen, and then finding a foundation that will work. So I am hoping this is going to be a product that can fit that bill. Now the tone of this, even though it said it was the warm tint, you can see it has a little bit of a pinkish hue. So I'm not crazy about that, but it is thin enough and sheer enough that perhaps it's going to blend in with my skin. So that's not too bad. It is rather glowy, but I have watched several reviews of people who have combination skin like I do, and they say this is one of the few that will actually stay on them. They have to powder it. So there we go, blend it in. I think it does mesh well. So there aren't a ton of shade options, but because it is so sheer, I think that helps a lot of the shades work on multiple skin tones. So there we go. So I'm excited to try this out. You know, I'm dog sitting again this weekend. So I'm thinking this is gonna be a perfect thing to try out Friday and Saturday when little Miss Mia is back visiting us again. Okay, next in the box, we have 2 concealers. Yes, 2. And it's kind of funny because one of these you'll probably be shocked. You'll be like, Shirley, have you really never tried that before? No, they're not new on the market, just new to me. This is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. I've truly never tried this before. Every time a new concealer comes out, I'm intrigued. I'll read reviews, I'll watch reviews, and that usually determines whether I'm gonna go try it myself. But recently, I've been hearing several people just continue to say this is still one of their favorites, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe I need to give it a try. The shade I picked up is Sepia or Sepia. And again, this is one that I've heard makeup artists rave about. So that doesn't always mean it's gonna work for me, but I figure those are usually people who try a lot of makeup on various skin types. And ooh, yeah, I think that tone actually is going to be perfect. Ooh, that has a very nice slip to it. Very soft, and it's not glowy. So sometimes people prefer to have a little glow under their eyes, but I prefer actually more of a matte finish under there because I feel like that disguises puffiness and lines a little better. So, but the feel on the skin, it does feel nice and hydrating. So I will be keeping you posted on everything, but especially the concealers, because I know so many of you get frustrated like I do with concealers settling and making your under eyes look dry. Okay. The other concealer, and I know I tried this before, but I never was able to find my perfect shade. So I'm making one last attempt. This is the Kosas Revealer Super Creamy Brightening Concealer. Another one that people have said is their all-time favorite, including some makeup artists. And I have very dry under eyes. And this is one that's supposed to be one of the most hydrating and yet really full coverage. So that's personally what I need. And this shade actually looks pretty good for me. I got 04N. These run very yellow. So I think my mistake before is I was always looking at the shades that actually say they're yellow, and they were too yellow for me, even though I have yellow undertones. So I ended up, I think I tried even the super bright shade and it was just too pale. So I didn't get the coverage I needed. So let's just check this one out. All right, so definitely a little darker than the Hourglass one, but you can see how yellow that is, and it's the neutral. So if you are of a yellow undertone like me, I would recommend looking into the neutral shades in this particular concealer. Ooh, that blended in very nicely. I can tell it's a little more tacky than the Hourglass. The Hourglass, boy, that settled in very nicely. So definitely feels more hydrating, but I feel like the color is going to be really nice, especially paired with that Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Wow, that just made that part of my hand just look flawless. All right, I'm excited for my makeup tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Okay, what else do we have in here? I have 5 more things. Oh dear. Okay, what did I get here? What is this? Oh, another contour. Now I feel like this year, oh my goodness, this spring, this last month has been like the contour stick revolution, right? We keep having, I mean, new release after new release and re-release. So I have been looking at all of these contour and bronzing sticks, and this one actually has been out for a while. This is the LYS No Limits Cream Bronzer Stick, and I have the shade Harmony. I love the packaging. Oh my goodness, so pretty. It's this triangular shape, rose gold, really luxe, and yet the LYS brand is one of the least expensive at Sephora. So it's a clean beauty brand, and it just says that it is formulated with soothing skincare ingredients, and it's going to leave behind a healthy looking glow. So let's just check it out. Ooh. Look at that. Okay, I'm not gonna add any more because I actually do have to leave the house today. But I mean, I can see how that triangular shape, I mean, you could do either way. Actually, I might go this direction. Guess we could do a little under here, right? Oh, whoa, that just glides so easily. Okay, let's just add a little bit to our concealer hand here. It is super smooth. Wow. That is really nice. I feel like this is maybe one I could get away with as a bronzer as well. Let's just put a little bit of this. See how easy it is to blend in. I'm gonna have a really, really chiseled jaw for the gym. Oh my goodness. Now I have already powdered, so sometimes that does change how easily things blend in or not. Well, I'm a distance away from my mirror, so I can't really tell, but it feels like it was pretty easy to blend in. Like I said, I'll find out better tomorrow when I blend it in before I powder, but just here on the back of my hand, wow, it is really soft. And you can see a little goes a long way. So this stick is definitely going to last a very long time. Next in the box is, let's see, what do we have here? Oh, a tool. I always find that I end up getting at least one tool, like a brush or something. And if you've watched any of my recent videos over the last like 2 months, you'll know I'm dipping my toes into the world of false lashes, just corner lashes. I feel like that's enough for me. But what I've been finding is that these traditional lash tools, these just don't work real well. They do make it difficult. Regular tweezers even, and regular tweezers make me nervous, you know, because you're just going right at your eye. So I picked up the Velour Too Easy Lash Applicator. I don't know, I'm sure you've seen these used, but I've heard these are game changers in the world of lash application. So I could see, yeah, you know, I could see that being really easy because I'm into the corner lash, and because it's bent at an angle, I think this is going to make it a lot easier just to set those lashes on there. Okay, we'll be trying out some false lashes with those and we'll see how easy it is. All right, 3 final products. This next one I've actually had some of you ask me about, and so I thought, well, you know, I have to at least pick up one eyeshadow palette, right, in the sale. And which one might that be? It is the recent release from Huda Beauty. This is the Mattes palette. It's a 9-pan palette, and I chose, out of the 2, I do love my warm browns, but I felt like the warm browns were almost exactly like the Naked Heat palette from Urban Decay and a couple of other palettes that I have like it as well. And for some reason, I just felt like the Cool Mattes one was the one with maybe some more interesting, unique tones or shades. Let's see. Okay, let's open it up. Ooh, so pretty. Okay, now what I'm really curious about is I believe there are 2 shades in here that are actually a cream, I think cream to powder or cream finish. I am not sure which ones. Let me swatch these real quick. Okay, I should leave my dialogue in as I'm talking to myself, trying to figure out which ones exactly are the cream formula. I believe it's these 2, but then this one felt pretty creamy too. So anyway, these are the swatches. These are terrible. I did them with my left hand, so just ignore that. But everything seems very smooth. Oh my goodness. And a couple of these, like this one, you can see on camera, yeah, you can see it looks a little more taupey or tan, and I guess it kind of is, but everything definitely has a rosy pinkish hue. So something to keep in mind, if you don't like pink, look at the warm version. But I've always loved these 9-pan palettes, but I just felt like the last several releases were so similar to all of the ones that I already have. So I will be interested. This is the one that I feel like might be the closest, the Nude Light, but this one obviously has some shimmer. So even there, I mean, I think they'll coordinate well together, but they are different. And then the Haze Sand palette, I'm curious to see, yeah, even there. So all of her other ones previously always had some shimmers in them. So to my knowledge, this is the first time she's done an all matte. So definitely excited to try that. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2 lipsticks. They both were splurges. And, you know, it's research for you all. And it is also, because I'm getting it on sale, this is the time, if ever I was going to try it, now is the time, right? So this first one is the new Hourglass Unlocked Satin Cream Lipstick, and the shade I chose is Tide. First, let's just admire this packaging. Has the H on the bottom with the little bunny. Okay, no, that's the top. That is beautiful. okay, how does this, oh, okay, very interesting. You know, normally the bottom is what pulls out, but this is where the label is. So let's pull this out. Oh, it's so pretty. Look, it has this really unique top on it, a square tip, which I don't know. Oh, well, it's similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, but I feel like it's slightly different. Maybe a very faint vanilla scent, but nothing overpowering. All right, definitely need to try this on. Okay, let me wipe off my lipstick here. Okay, I didn't scrub it off, so there's probably still a little remaining, but I just want to give this a try here. Smooth, creamy, and no shimmer. Wow, that's pretty pigmented. Feels very nice on the lips, moisturizing, not slippery. Ooh, I just noticed it has a magnetic close. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, so overall, very pretty. Nude. This is more of a cooler nude lipstick, I feel like. Has just a hint of some pink tones. Pinky, well, there's a little peachy that comes through, but on my lips, I feel like it comes off just a little bit cooler. Ooh, really like that. Okay, the final one, you all are just gonna be like, what? I've had, I think this particular color in and out of my basket so many times, it's sold out. Oh, it's back in stock. It is the Tom Ford lip color, and this is the shade Spanish Pink 01. Last summer, when my best friend was out visiting, we went to one of those cosmetic outlet stores, and they had a bunch of Tom Ford lipsticks, eyeshadow palettes, and so that was my first ever Tom Ford lipstick that I got, and I think it was on sale for still like $24 or something like that, but it was a lot less expensive than the normal price. But I thought, okay, if I only buy one a year, it's not so bad, right? Wow. Okay, here's the packaging. Again, yes, that is part of the high price. We're paying for packaging, but I'm somebody who does appreciate a well-packaged lipstick. Let's just be real. All right, let's pull this out and let's, ooh, that's pretty. All right, now this is another one that was really hard to tell online how this was going to translate in person. Oh, okay, it's funny. Next to, I guess you can see a difference, but next to that hourglass shade, similar, but definitely more peachy. Okay, let me wipe off this hourglass lipstick. And I have a feeling I'm gonna need a lip liner with this when I wear it normally, but I'll try it on first without. I do love the shape of the bullet. Okay, let's try. Smooth, creamy. Smells really nice. Again, just a very faint vanilla scent. Oh, actually that's really pretty, especially with my peach blush, right? And it doesn't make my teeth yellow. Yay! I don't know if you've ever put on a peach lipstick and you smiled and you're like, ooh, no. But that is actually really pretty. But definitely I would like to add a lip liner. All right, I'm just gonna add a little bit of Urban Decay Broken Lip Liner to the edge. Okay, what do you think? I think it's really pretty. I'm definitely going to compare it with some of the other lipsticks in my collection, but when I was choosing the color, I did feel like peach is a color that I don't have very many of in my collection. So we'll see. But as far as how it feels on the lips, it feels really nice and hydrating, and it's not transferring to my teeth, so it's not slipping around yet. So overall, I'm really super happy. First impression with just about everything. Ironically, I think the one thing that this wiped off really easily, this is the Urban Decay eyeliner, so I'm gonna be checking out and seeing how well that holds up. But everything else, I think first application, first swatch, I'm loving everything so far. So be sure you stay tuned because I will be doing a get ready with me soon with most of these products, many of these products. I'm wanting to work in a few really simple makeup looks with real light foundation. So I have some new looks up my sleeve, and I think a lot of these products are going to work their way into those videos. So as I mentioned at the beginning, check the description box down below for links to everything that I talked about. You're gonna hit where it says more and then hit more again. I'll have have everything listed. I will also include all of the sale information. Don't snooze on this sale. Even if there is just one thing on your list, pick it up now. And again, the Sephora collection is all 30% off. So this is a really good time to shop that as well. I will leave links to my previous Sephora recommendation sales videos in case you do want some more recommendations of things to buy. But thank you as always for coming along, trying on this makeup. It is always so much more fun to do with friends. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.